guys! Nice to have you guys here. My name is Esti from Esti of Sweden. Today we are going to be talking about Sweden versus Singapore. Which one is better? So actually, this is just my own personal opinion. It's not from any kind of research you have found out. It's just from my own experience. So don't judge me and throw a rotten egg at me, okay? So I'm going to try to be as far as possible, trying to be fair, so that my own judgment is what you see and what you hear here on live. Welcome. If you're new here, my name is Esti. When you subscribe to my channel, this is what you get. On Wednesday, I will have a live chat like today. We're going to be discussing about some interesting topics like, for example, this one. Because I'm a Singaporean, I've been staying here for about 20 years. It has been a long time enough for me to gather some small experience and share with you guys. All right, hi guys, welcome. So subscribe, and on Friday and Sunday I will be cooking live at my kitchen. Usually on Friday I'll cook like a family dinner, because Friday we consider Friday in Sweden is like weekend. For Sunday is the old family recipes. So it's where I gather all some memorable recipes from my hometown, especially Singapore, Malaysia, and share with you guys. And I just hope that all this is like a collectible recipes that you can too try at home. So I have been trying out this method. I want to try out this live streaming chat and see what happened. All right. So don't throw eggs, or don't tell me you're wasting time. I think, guys. I think for so long in YouTube, I think I'm really good in wasting time. And that is one thing that I am working on it, and I've been receiving all the complaint from people saying, the garlic video, they're saying, oh, your video is good, but you are really good in wasting time. My god, damn good. I'm so happy, that I'm finally good in doing something that I'm good in wasting people time, and I hope that it's not in this case. So let's jump on to the topic. I have made two paper. Singapore, I don't know whether you can see here, Singapore. Maybe it cannot be seen. Yeah? Anyway, this is Singapore. Maybe I should have put a flag. Singapore and Sweden. So I will be, at the end of this live streaming, you will see which one is better. So for me, my preference, if I like this topic that I'm talking about, and I find that Sweden win over Singapore, then I'm going to give Sweden 1 point. So you have to watch right until the end, and then you will see the result. Which country is better? Okay, deal? So let's start. So now I'm going to start off by talking about how I end up here. You guys has been following me. You know that I'm from Singapore. I came here in 1998. So to me, my first impression for Sweden is like, wow, fresh air. So we're going to be talking about first the very greater movement, the environment. So environment is, you can't fight with Singapore. Sweden, of course, because we have fresh air and we have a lot of nature. 70% of this country is actually made of forest. So in terms of fresh air compared to Singapore, which is now having the haze problem, so I think Sweden should get 1 point, right? So I'm going to give Sweden 1 point on environment, because I just feel like because Singapore is so small a country, and the government is trying to work hard, really hard. We have the best world well-known sewage what do you call that, the sewage, the drain system is really fantastic. So I think Singapore government, they try to do a really good job to make this country a very livable, as environmental friendly as possible. I even heard that Singapore nowadays you cannot even smoke in certain areas. You have to stand in this cube, which I think is ridiculous, but it is good also. Sorry, those people who are smoker, but I think you will also have to care about other people who doesn't smoke too, right? So Sweden for sure 1 point, and I think Singapore, I think they have worked really hard, and there's nothing they can do about the environment. Indonesia is burning their forests, and all the haze is going, not just Singapore, it's like all around the region. So it just breaks my heart. I hope that they could resolve this issue as soon as possible. uh, for environment, I feel like the first thing that you come to Sweden is that I also realized that they learn how to recycle things. Singapore, they are very good. In fact, some of the recycled paper, if you go to shopping center in Singapore, you will see, I used to get, collect that those kind of bag like made of cloth, not really cloth, but it's some kind of fiber. So that is also environmental, and I've been getting that kind of bag every time I go back to Singapore for shopping, and I always get that kind of bag. And then I start to wonder, hey, is it cheaper to produce this kind of bag? Then I start to realize, oh my god, this is for recycling purpose, which is really good, because Sweden, we don't have that. You have to buy that bag. So I think that way, I think Singapore get 1 point on that. All right, so I'm going to give Singapore 1 point on that, on recycling. But again, Sweden is also is a leader of recycling. So that is what I learned. Last time I couldn't be bothered, like most, like my brother, I see they don't really care about recycling the things. So which I feel like, it's bad, but it is all possible to learn, and it's never too late to learn. We have to think about our next generation, right? So hey, go, you go, Greta. So you're making Sweden really proud, and as a 16 years old girl, being able to stand, I dare you, how dare you. I was like thinking, my god, this girl, she really got guts. And yeah, I look upon her, she's like, not exactly my idol, but she's somebody that we all should learn from. She knows so many things, the way she speaks, like as though she's a professor. So environmental, we are done for that. And let's come down to housing. Housing is very expensive in Singapore compared to Sweden. Sweden is much cheaper. So if you want to sell a house, like for example a 4-room flat, a HDB flat in Singapore, you can buy actually 3 of the houses here in Sweden. So just imagine, right, the price. If we're talking about the outskirts, we don't talk about Stockholm, we're talking about just the place that I'm staying in. So in terms of housing prices, much lower. And then the only thing that is not so good, it is because Sweden has very long winter. It means that you need a lot of electricity to heat up the house, which is really expensive. So there is this, right now LG is using the earth warming. So they drill a hole down like 200 meters down, and then get the heat from the earth to warm up the house, which is very environmental friendly, and it's very cheap too. So I wish everybody could do that, so that we don't use so much electricity. In terms of Singapore, Singapore is very cheap compared to the powers. The bill here is like much cheaper. So in that case, for electricity, I would say Singapore is cheaper, but then it's a sad thing. So I'm going to give Singapore 1 point for electricity. Housing cheaper, 1 point to Sweden. All right. And also, I think it's a pity that Singapore is a very small country, and we tend to live on top of each other, right? If you've been to Singapore, Sweden is all spread out. So It's advantages and disadvantages. For me, I come from a kampong. I'm a kampong girl, so I'm used to like opening up my door, going out to play with my neighbors. I really miss that. In Sweden, you can't do that. If you go to somebody's house all of a sudden, you will be not say unwelcome. You will be like treated like, hey, what's wrong with her? Is she something wrong, or does she has a problem? People will start thinking about that. So I think in Singapore, I think people are more welcoming in terms of opening up their house, but we don't have that culture whereby you invite a lot of friends like every weekend to come here. But because Singapore is so convenient, everybody is going out dining, so they always meet their friend out at the diners and have a dinner there. So I think in terms of that, it's much better in Singapore. So I'm going to give Singapore 1 point on that. Yeah. And Sweden, in terms of entertainment wise, very expensive. You cannot afford to like go out and have a meal, like invite your friends and blanja them. You can't do that. Blanja means give them a treat. You can't do that. It's very expensive. So for that reason, Singapore is much better in terms of food wise. Singapore food is a variety compared to Sweden. Sweden, my brother when he came was thinking, what? Only hamburgers and pizza all the time, everywhere you go. Yeah, we do have other restaurants, but the Chinese food doesn't taste like Chinese food. The Japanese food, a bit, I've been to, we have four sushi shop or sushi restaurant here in Shalefdale, but I've tasted all of them and tell myself, I never seen the Japanese people making Japanese sushi. All of them are from the Middle East. And I was like, okay, never mind, give them a chance. So I went to try it out. Actually, surprisingly, it was quite good. But again, it's not authentic. It's not like the things that you see in Singapore. If you go to the hawker center, you see this old lady, making, food from the family recipes. It's more authentic. So I think for that reason, food is can be an issue for those of you who wants to visit Sweden. Like my brother, I want to tell you one issue. All right, my brother when he came, I was so pissed off with him. The first day he came and we have some food because the weather was really bad, and we asked him how's the food. He said, so okay lah, like Singaporean, okay lah, I have no choice, I have to eat this, I have no choice. I have no other choice, not like Singapore. You don't eat this, you can eat other stores, right? But he forgotten that he's in Sweden. We have no choice. Even if you are being invited to somebody's house, you don't really have a lot of choice. I can quickly go and say, okay, I'll make you an instant noodle, and he's very easy guy. But I was really, really hurt. So, and then the second time we asked him, he said the same thing. Oh, I have no choice. And then sometimes when we cook food and we want to eat together, like some food that he's like sausages, he said, oh, this one I don't eat. He just walk away. It's very rude, right? So I think that Singaporean are a little bit choosy, picky, because they are very spoiled with choices. And because of that, they are unable to compromise when they come to another country. And I notice Singaporeans like to complain. They always say, "Oh, this is not nice, nice man." I can buy this somewhere else. I can make this myself. So I think basically what I want to say is like, I can tell you the food is lousy. I mean, if you want to find out food in Sweden, Swedish food is not popular at all compared to Singapore. Singapore food number one. Everything is nice, good, delicious, cheap, and good quality. Sweden, but I think the mentality, the personality comes out. You should at least show appreciation. So I give Sweden 1 point because of the way they react. Because in Sweden, whatever things you cook, even though it's not nice, people will say, oh, it's nice. They will lie to you, you know. I don't expect people to lie to me, but then at least show some kindness, you know. People cook food for you, right? You don't kind of say, I have no choice, yo, why like that, right? So mannerism is very important. So Sweden 1 point, but I also want to give Singapore food 1 point. Yeah, so mannerism is very important. And also I feel like in terms of environment also, we have a really good environment in terms of a standard of living here. Like everything, the face is like slowly, and in Singapore it's like, wow, very fast. They haven't finished this meal, they think about the next meal, you know. So this is what I felt like. It's very stressful. So when the Singaporean comes to Sweden, they are not used to this kind of tempo, and then they say, how come so slow? They may feel like it's very boring. It is because they never learn how to relax. So my concern is that in terms of quality of life, I think Sweden offer a higher quality of life because they know how to take their time, enjoy, you know, just do things. Like in Singapore, if I asked my friend the other day, I said, you know, she said she want to retire before 65. She's only 53, and she said she want to retire. And she was so worried. She said, you know, I'm sick and tired of working, and I want to quit my job, and I'll stay at home. But I'm really scared because if I stay at home, I'm going to be crazy because I do not know what to do with the time. It's very boring at home. No, you know, in Singapore, you have nothing to do. I mean, you have to go out to entertain yourself. But in Sweden, here, even though the winter is really bad, you know, sometimes, you know, you just don't want to go out. So people learn how to like use the time at home to do something that are fun, you know. And I think they are very good in finding things to do, like, oh, it's raining today, let's do this, let's clear this storeroom. Oh, it's raining today, let's clean. Singapore, when they are raining, oh my god, you know, so sian, you know, I cannot go out. So if I have to go out, then you know, I have to take a taxi, and then I start to complain. So I think in terms of quality of lifestyle, Sweden, they are, people are not say they are more smarter, but they are more creative. They know how to find ideas, you know, to spend their time compared to Singapore. But because Singapore, the only place that they can entertain themselves is to the movie, to go and eat somewhere. Most of the time, meet some friends, maybe go shopping. So a lot of Singaporeans, they say, oh, Singapore is so boring, nothing to do. But actually, there is a lot of things you can do in Singapore compared to Sweden. So I think we have to look at it that way, that you know, you actually have a lot of opportunity. You just need to sit down and just decide for yourself whether or not this place is really good. But in terms of entertainment, Singapore is better compared to Sweden. Sweden is like, you really have to, you know, king, you know, we call it king. You have to really crack your head, you know, to do and to think about what things that, you know, excite you, or you know, keep it as a hobby so that you will not find it bored. But I think it's pro and con. Singaporean entertainment wise good, but also against Sweden. So I'll give 1 point on each lah. I give 1 point. So I wouldn't say bad, really, really bad. So transport, guys, transport. Singapore car is so expensive. I mean, if you want to compare, you want to buy a car in Singapore, you really have to be rich. The COE and all that, you know, it's crazy. Singapore government is trying their best to stop people from buying car. They jack up the COE price, the ownership price, and people still buy car. And actually, people don't really need car because It's really bad. First, it's very bad for the environment, and secondly, you know why buy a car when you can take a taxi, or don't take a taxi, take a bus or take a train. Mass transportation. It's cheaper, it's faster, wiser, right? Sweden, you have to have a car. It's cheaper. They have no choice because the transportation is not as convenient as in Singapore. So Singapore is really, I mean, it's really stupid people who buy car. I'm so sorry. Also, stupid people buy car. No, 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 it's not stupid people. It's that people who are wasting money because they really don't need a car. Um, so maybe for my case, if I were to give point, I would say that Sweden is cheap. Is They have no choice. But in terms of transportation, Singapore is number one because we just have all the convenience. You cannot imagine. You just walk out of the house from the HDB flat and you get shelter all the way to the bus stop. Never seen that in my life. All right, I've noticed now that I came to Singapore, and more of this kind of housing estates, they have this shelter all the way to the bus stop and to the even MRT station, which is top we call it. So I'm gonna give Singapore transportation one, right? In terms of safety, I think Singapore traffic is like maximum 90, right? I don't know. I think it's 90. Correct me if I'm not wrong. Which is really good because if you are like Sweden, the car is like no traffic. You just go. When my brother was here, he was like, "Huh? Where's the traffic light? There's no traffic light, only in the town, right?" So he said it's really it's really calm to drive. But the thing is that you want to you want to drive in a very safe environment because it's not really safe, no, even though there is no traffic light, because sometimes an animal, in fact that happened to me a few times, animal can just appear right in front of you without you noticing it, and it was like a few times I almost hit some animal. Once it was a cat and the other two was squirrel, and one time almost a reindeer run just quite quick across the street. So it's kind of dangerous. So transportation, safety, Singapore, I think it's a bit stressful, but I think compared to the traffic condition, I prefer the Sweden one. Unfortunately, Singapore a bit stressful, I find. So Sweden, I'm gonna give one. Yeah, definitely. What else should I say? That's all for transport. What about this food and clothing? Food, Singapore food, I have spoken. Clothing wise, Swedish people, if you notice, they are very basic. They are very chic. They don't like, you never seen them wearing like Adidas or Gucci, right? Singaporean or Asian, they always have this Gucci, all the branded thing. When I came to Sweden, I was thinking, because I'm so used to wearing branded clothes, I actually was quite stupid, dumb as the other time when I was then, and I started to think, hey, yeah, why Swedish people don't wear that? They said if people want me to wear their brand, they have to pay me. So, which I find is really true. Why should you pay so much money to help people to advertise, right? Make no sense. So I just realized that it's not a stupid idea, right? It's you get this really clean look that you don't have anything on you, like no brand. You're not you are yourself. Sweden, you cannot stand out, you cannot stick out. So if you stick out, if you wear something really bright, glitter and all that, people will like look at you, oh, go sing or what, like singer, are you an artist or what? So this is what Sweden is like. Everybody has to be feeling like they are belongs to one pack, and no one is allowed to stick out. It's not that they're not allowed to stick out. Like if you stick out, people look at you. Oh, you know, unacceptable. But in Sweden, in Singapore, people like to wear, they are more creative, but they are also brand conscious, which I think is not so smart, because you think about that, you pay so much money and then you go and help other people advertising. What do you get, right? I'm not saying that you want to get anything or you want to look so much smarter, because I think it's the matter of status. Like, hey, Howlin, I got a Gucci, do you have or not, right? So I think for that reason, I'll give Sweden one. They have good taste. They are like, I think overall, I think that their mindset is very good, because they feel like, okay, we have to be fair. We have to look like the same, like we are one team. So the rich people here. The other day, my sister was asking me. He said, "Hey, Sweden people are so rich. How come they never drive branded car? A lot of people drive old car here, yeah." I said, "Yeah, but I think to them it's not important, um, because it's just a matter of proving your status. And in Sweden, people don't do that. The richer they are, the more simple they are. It's only the poor people who are like, they want to show off. They buy things that they cannot afford. So this is what I personally feel. So for me, I felt like it is not it is actually quite a smart way of living. Like, you don't have to spend too much time. Like in Singapore, when I was there, I was thinking, wow, I have to go to work, I have to plan, what I'm going to wear, or makeup. I have to paint my nail, I have to make my hair, I have to make sure that my clothing is like, matching. In Sweden, I don't really care. I don't need to make up. I don't go out with, matching clothes. As long as they're one color, I don't care, because I don't have the time to waste on them. So in a way, I felt like Swiss way of thinking is quite smart. Why should you spend so much unnecessary time on that? You must well use the time to do something more fun, right? So maybe some people dressing up and looking good is very fun for them. By all means, do that, but not me. Yeah. So I'm gonna give Sweden 1 point for that. Agree with me or not? Not agree? Write me a comment, okay? I want to hear from you. So, and in terms of education, yeah. Now we talk about the deeper side. Education wise, I find that the system here is very good, because the Swedish government, they are very well prepared. They prepare the student for the future. And universities here is like for free. You just have to get a loan from the government, because when you are moving to another city to stay on your own in the university, you need money, right? You need to pay rent, right? So the government will give you the money to live. Like, you don't have to have a very fancy life, just a normal life, pay rent, eat, and enough, just enough to buy some maybe basic clothes. So Sweden is well known for that. Singapore, unfortunately, the government is very stressful. They press on the kids a lot. Oh, the standard must be this, and then if you are reaching that point, you didn't get 100, you didn't get 90, you go to the C class. Categorizing, which I feel is really bad. I felt really really sad, because in Sweden, uh, they are not judged by the people are not won't judge you because you didn't score well in this test. No, they don't. And I think that that is supposed to be that way, because if you are being labeled, oh, I am a C class, how fun is that? You're never going to find that learning is fun, right? And also in Sweden, I also noticed that the small kids, I noticed that when my daughter went to the kindergarten, and the teacher is like very pedagogic. They are like, oh, they try to make learning fun, very very fun, and the kid will keep wanting and jumping on the teacher. I want to learn more. I want to hear more. I want you to read me this book. In Singapore, it's like, oh God, go away, teacher. I just want to sleep. Or when you come home from school, you just want to sleep a while, right? Leave me alone, right? So it's totally different scenario. So for that case, I'm gonna give Sweden 1 point. Yeah. Wow. Look like Sweden is leading there. But I'm not saying the Singapore standard of education is bad. Perhaps I should say rather too high the standard on the government. Um, I think it's not bad too. But then I feel like we are human beings. We are here to learn, right? But not everything we can learn from the books. There are a lot of things where you can learn from experience. And a lot of successful people, they are not the nerd type, that study a lot, and then you get a secure job, you earn a living, you provide for the family. A successful person is based very very much basing on the personalities, the mentalities, how smart the person is in terms of thinking. So sometimes some books doesn't teach you all that, and smart people, they always find their way to to earn this experience. So for me, I felt like this education is not really important. So okay, so let's jump on, all right, so I don't have to waste so much time on one. Otherwise you guys are gonna complain, hey, how come you waste so much time? Okay, work here in Sweden, it's very relaxing, I find. They always have this fika, when you get to work at 8 o'clock. You start at 8, 9 o'clock, you go for coffee break, or 10, go for coffee break. And then after that, 11, you go to lunch. And then after that, 3 o'clock, or maybe 2 o'clock, you go for another coffee break. And that's about half an hour, 15 to 15 minutes, I think. And then after that, 4 o'clock, you go back, and then that's it. In Singapore, it's so stressful, right? You get up, most of the people eat breakfast outside, so everything is on the go, on the rush. Very stressful. And the only breaks that you have, I heard, is maybe you have a rest time, but then mostly it's just lunch time, right? 1 hour. And then after that, you get back to work. And most of people, they finish work at 6, 7, even 8 o'clock. I have heard about my friend. Some of my friends are working up to 7, 8 o'clock, which I find is ridiculous. If you have a family, you don't have time for, you don't have time for yourself. So it's really miserable. You feel like in your whole life you are just work, 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 eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep. Like, that's why Singaporeans always say, hey, how come so boring, right? So in terms of Sweden, I think, again, I'm sorry, Singapore, I have to give Sweden 1 point. All right. And I really hope that Singapore will win. I really, really hope that. But we'll see, okay? Hello. And then, in terms of mentality. Oh, let's talk about work, all right? In terms of salary, yeah? I think salary in Sweden is like very fair, but the man earns slightly more than the woman, between 4, 5, even 10% more than woman. The same job, but the men earn more. And the Swedish women are fighting. The feminist group are fighting, their best to, to get the same rights. Singapore, on the other hand, is the salary is not as high, um, but now I heard it's getting higher and higher depending on the experience. But I also heard from my friend Kelly, who just called me and said, Singapore is so stressful nowadays. My boss, he just promoted me. She gave me like $200-300 extra for a month, but they expect me to work like a cow. Like, I have to work like, a lot of hours, more responsibility, and she felt so stressed out. So in a way, promotion for what? Just, I mean, if you want to say in a not nice way, it's just to pay you a few bucks for extra hours, that's all. So for me, I felt like if you are promoting somebody, you should be promoting somebody from that present job to a better post whereby she can overlook, and the position of this person should like uh, be in a position to like build up the company, not to get more responsibility. So I do not know whether you guys agree with me on that, but for me, I felt like, it should be that way. And then in Sweden, the boss cannot anyhow fire you, because they have all this what do you call that, the organization that support the worker. So you can't really do anything wrong. If you do anything really really wrong, you might be killing somebody, then the company can say, okay, out you go. In Singapore, you know the boss don't like you, if you wake up late a few 1 2 3 times, they say, okay, pack your bag and go. So I think in terms of employment benefits and all that, I think Sweden is better because we have 5 weeks holidays, and Singapore we have like 2 to 3 weeks holiday maximum, right? So not so much of a day off, but then again we have a lot of holidays too. It's the same in Sweden. We have a lot of holidays, but still I still find that in terms of benefits, we pay a lot on tax. In terms of benefits, we don't, except the holidays, we don't really have so much holiday benefits. We don't have dental. We don't have dental. I'm sure a lot of company doesn't have dental too. So dental would be good to have. So in terms of benefits, I think for the holidays sake, like 5 weeks compared to 2 3 weeks, I think Sweden win slightly a little bit, but again, public holiday we have a lot too. So I'm gonna give Sweden just one. All right. Hey, hello. I just hope there's something that come out positive. If I miss out anything that is positive on Singapore, please guys let me know, right? I may be outdated on the plan, employment plan and benefits here. I just hope that I could give Singapore more score. Healthcare. Healthcare is a disaster here. In Singapore, no doubt, right? We have the best healthcare. I think I was surprised. I was checking out on the survey, and I noticed that Singaporean actually pay lesser healthcare compared to Sweden. Sweden healthcare is being paid because we paid more tax, like 30% on our incomes go to this tax. That's why we are getting the benefit. But it is when we are older then you get benefits, because that is where your spare part all goya already, right? You start to change your spare part. So some people don't even live to enjoy the health benefit. And also I think in terms of support, I don't think so we get so much of a support here in Sweden. The waiting time is extremely long, and if you fall sick in the morning, for example, if you might call the doctor, or you want to just go out to the clinic, there's no clinic for you here. You have to call this stupid number, and then they will put you into this recording machine. You talk to a machine, and then if you cannot wait, the queue number will probably say, okay, you have to wait like number 5 or number 50, and then you don't talk to anybody, you just keep listening and talking to that bloody machine. In Singapore, if you fall sick, right, you just wear a slipper and then you go downstairs. All right, you just go across the street. There's a lot of polyclinic. There's a lot of GP all over the place. when you can get help immediately, even 24 hours, it's 24 hours clinic, guys. How fantastic is that? So in terms of healthcare, Sweden is really no good. They need to improve, they need to improve on the support. They need to get more doctors. A lot of doctors is like moving away from here to Norway, because Norway they pay much higher than in other countries. And you know we have a lot of sorry guys, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to be discriminating, because I notice nowadays in Sweden there are a lot of very talent. Look, we call that the overseas talent. They imported all the low overseas doctors here, and because they are imported, they were not so good in their Swedish language. So it would be good if all of them can understand English, but not all of them can, and or they want to even try to use English, and their Swedish is not so good. So how to, right? You want to make yourself clear, so that the doctor will understand. So in many cases, I just felt like, I'm not. They don't understand what my problem is, and obviously they cannot help me, and that is a minus. So I think I'm gonna give Singapore this point. All right, 1 point to Singapore for the healthcare. In fact, I want to give one extra point to Singapore healthcare, because we have the best health researcher in Singapore. Singapore is so well known with this amazing research group, doing all the fantastic job. And because they are so highly skilled, I'm not saying Sweden, because sorry, I don't really know how, but I just felt like, I felt very safe when I'm uh, in Singapore, because they really do a lot of tests on you. In Sweden, sometimes if you tell them the problem, and then they say, just go home and drink water. Water? Yeah, that will take me like a whole month to cure. Yeah, you have to cure by yourself. You can't help, like you break your rib, right? Then they say, oh, okay, you don't even need to stay there. He don't even want to see you. He said, just go back and just take it easy. Take 3 days MC and just rest. And then if you have a flu, if you have a really serious cough, they call you call them on the phone, and they don't talk to you. They say they don't have time. You have to wait like 1 or 2 days if it's not emergency. If it's emergency, they will say, okay, you have to call another hotline, and then they will tell you, okay, now you go to the apotheke, which is the pharmacies, go and get this medicine. Try and see if this works or not. So sometimes you don't get the kind of help that you deserve. So that is why I feel like I should give Singapore another point. Yeah. So Sweden is a good country, but we have to improve on the healthcare. Agree? Agree? Let me know on the comment, alright? And then the mentality. Swedish mentality is very different from Singapore. Singapore mentality is like very kiasu, right? Oh, we have to be the first one. Chong, go there and get it done, and very effective. Swedish people a bit let off. Oh, they are very effective too, but if you get the right person to work with you, you will get your job done very quickly. They are very fast. But not everybody is like that. I noticed Swedish people, the waiting time is like, oh, you wait until your neck like 1 meter long, very long time the waiting. And then in terms of customer service, I just find that here is like needed to be improved, because everything, you don't get to talk to the real people. You get to talk to the robot all the time, which is very a lot of saving for the company or the organization. But when you, especially when you're sick, you want to get help, you want to talk to somebody live on the phone, you don't get that. So I think Swedish mentality is that they are very reserved. Swedish people overall, they won't be like, oh, very excited. Singapore is like very passionate, right? When they're happy, they jump up and down, you know. But Sweden is like, oh, really? Oh, so you know, sometimes you can't read their mind, but they will not promise you. This is what I said all the time. I said they will not promise you or over promise you something that they don't can't or not sure if they can do it, which I find is really good. But um, at the reserve part is a bit hard to get there, how to go there, because it's very difficult to find a friend. And I noticed the Swedish people, they are not so welcoming to new people, new ideas. They want to keep their old friends, they want to keep to their group. They don't really allow people to come in just like that, unless you know, or you bring a beer or you bring some, oh, maybe I'm not saying all of them is like that, but most of them, if you bring something like to the party, you're extra welcome. Um, so Swedish people, they are very smart. They comes you invite them for coffee or even for dinner. They usually bring a bottle of wine, or they bring you some flowers. Singapore is like, oh, they bring a hot pot, you know, of curry or some fried chicken. So that's a mentality. But overall, in conclusion for mentality, I just feel like Swedish people are more stable compared to Singapore. Singapore's like all over the place, you know, they go, oh, oh, where shall we eat? You know, what shall we do? Oh, I'm really happy. They're very passionate, you know, nothing wrong with that. But sometimes I just felt like overwhelming. I'm very overwhelmed by their reaction. It's fun to be with Singaporean people, but I just felt like I'm more secure. But fun, I think Singaporean are more fun. I'm going to give Singaporean 1 point, right? Swedish people, not say that they're boring, but they are very reserved, alright? You just need a very long time to get to know them. So, sorry, say Sweden. No point for you. Friendship wise, I think when they are a real friend, they will help you. Singaporean, I don't know, you really have to test friends with money, with favors. Sweden is like when I do a favors with to a friend, and then the friend always in return, you know, give it back to me. So it's like the fair thing. So maybe it's the cultural thing, which I think is really good too. But in terms of fun, there's not there. Yeah, maybe I haven't meet the real fun people. Family value. Family value. I don't think so. Singapore, Sweden is so family orientated. The reason why Sweden is not family orientated, it is because when kids are 16, 18, right, they move out, they don't really have so much connection with the family. So they only meet like a few times a year on season, like a holiday. In Singapore, they, on the other hand, are more family orientated because they meet up for dinner, they go out once in a week or once in a month, they gather at their family. I remember when I was kids, you know, we always have these parties, we always have this dinner going, like on my brother's side, and my sisters, and then the other sisters, they always take turn, you know, to give treats. So in terms of the kind of warm, I think in Sweden people are more cold. But when they meet you, they're like, oh, they give you a hug. I said, oh, don't hug me, please. I'm not gonna have sex with you. Don't hug me, please. Okay. And then some people, they are like very oh, very, it is very seldom you see people who like to hug you and they're so happy. Usually they are like, oh, like, you know, oh, really? Oh, welcome. You know, even though they really like you, they won't really show it to you. Like, you know, going crazy over you and all that. So, but Singaporean, they are so friendly. They are, you know, they kind of warm. Oh, this is a family. We do everything for the family. Oh, you want money? Okay, how much do you need? You know, when somebody is in trouble in the family, everybody will help. Most of the people will do that. I noticed. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope people are not like that. But I think in Sweden, it's like you, if your brothers and sisters want to borrow money from you, I mean, I find that in terms of borrowing money or lending money, it's not the case because we don't do that. It's like you lose face, you lose, yeah, lose face, and Swedish people, they also care about losing face. So I think for family value, Singapore better. I'm gonna give Singapore #1, yeah. Okay, I hope, let me see, just finish everything. Family value, mentality, quality of life. In terms of quality of life, I think Sweden win. In fact, I already given them a point. So guys, let's check who is the winning team, okay? 9. Singapore win 10-9. I cannot believe it. Singapore is a good place to stay. All right. In fact, there's a guy, a Swedish guy. His name is Stefan. If you find him on YouTube, he talks about Singapore. When I saw his video, I was thinking, oh, what is this Swedish guy? He's talking so much good things about Singapore. And when I moved to Sweden, I always think that, wow, here is like a paradise. It's still a paradise to me because Singapore is not for everybody, unfortunately. Sweden is not for everybody. If you are somebody who is in a big city, you are used to this fast tempo, and you are used to, going out, party, and big friends, big group of friends, very social. Sweden is not that place. But if you're like me, what we call it, a nature nerd, I love forest. I love the nature. I love animals. Singapore people doesn't like animals. I just noticed that because my brothers and my sister-in-law, they hate my 2 cats. So I hope not everybody is like that. Yeah, it should be animal lover, because if you love animal, you have a kind of heart empathy. I'm not saying that those people who don't love animal are not, but I just feel like it becomes so natural that your brain, every time when I hug my cat, and I was thinking, I can feel something that is like happening in my brain. It's like some kind of love signal that you are getting from the cat, the love that you share with them, the relationship, the connection. So I think that is really, really good for the mind. I understand why Singaporean doesn't like cat, because in Singapore, cat status is very low because not many people have cats. They only have dogs. So as again, I said, it's a status. It's a matter of status. So as I said, not really for everybody. So you really need to be someone who is like me. I love the nature. I love animals. I love the the lifestyles. I love the 4 season. Singapore doesn't have this 4 season. Let's talk about 4 seasons. Singapore doesn't have 4 season. It's a little bit boring. But I find that Sweden is better in a way. Every time when each season comes, you feel like you are in a different time zone. You are in a different planet or a different country. It's the feeling is so amazing because it is actually quite nice, except for the bad days in the winter. Some winter it can really chill you out, and you just doesn't want to do anything. You just want to stay at home. And when you stay at home, you know how to find your time, how to what to do with your free times, so you can always find something to do, which I think I'm getting better in that. So I would say, in terms, I would like to give the last point, but then I would say Singapore and Sweden is almost the same if you want to compare from my experience. All right, I'm not saying speaking for anyone. I'm speaking just for myself. So I hope you guys have an overview of my own experience, and I want to hear more from you, and let me know, all right, if you agree or disagree with some of the things that I've said. And I hope you guys like this video, and if you do, please give a thumbs up. Yeah, and I would like to hear from you. All right, guys, have to go. I've been live streaming for 55 minutes now. On Friday, I will try to cook something special. It's going to be something that you would never thought you could cook, but it is so simple. You cannot believe that it is so simple, and it's really nice. It's also one of my favorite dish. I will not review it until Friday. I see you at 16 CT. All right. Enjoy your week, and I hope to see you. Bye.